to the winner by split decision from the United Kingdom, the Nightmare.
That's my guy! Come on! KSI has done it! Oh my God! KSI! Yes!
Now if you ask me, this result didn't make any sense. Don't worry, I'm not making a video explaining why Logan won the fight, because KSI beat Logan Paul fair and square. However, in this video, I'm going to be explaining why Logan Paul should have beat KSI. And I'm also going to be giving you reasons why he didn't. As far as I've seen, nobody's spoken about this fight the same way that I'm about to tell you now. The best way to talk about this is to go back to the first fight. Let's go back to the very beginning of August 25th, 2018. Now, I've gone back and had a look, and there's no point denying it that KSI was absolutely killing Logan when it came to the pre-fight talks. KSI won all of the press conferences, he won everything, and that's because the world still hadn't forgive Logan for what he did in Japan. And not to mention, because this fight was in England, there is an extremely loyal KSI fan base. And them hurling abuse, throwing things at Logan, punching his dad, to then have Logan walking off stage of a press conference. At the time, we were all thinking, yeah, KSI, he's definitely in Logan's head. But we were wrong. So let's talk about the actual fight night. And let's be honest, in the Manchester arena of that night, it was probably like 75% the KSI fan base. And we all had no idea if the fight build-up had toyed with Logan. We had no idea that when Logan was waiting to fight, if the fans would drain his energy. Most people were thinking that it would just be another fight like Joe Weller. So when Logan finally does do his ring walk, he doesn't seem overly confident, but he seems more focused. You could tell that this fight meant a lot to him, and it was the complete opposite when you were looking at KSI. KSI was as confident as could be. He was loving it. And bearing in mind, everybody thought KSI was just going to walk through Logan because of how easily he walked through Joe Weller. And let's just say, the moment that bell rings, everyone was so wrong. Straight away, you noticed that Logan's reach made such a big difference. His jab was just keeping JJ at a distance. And when JJ did get in close, he had a great defense and great counter attack. There was no competition at all. Logan was by far the superior fighter. He was taller, sharper, stronger, faster. Them first two rounds showed how good Logan really was and how quickly he learned to box in them 3 months. But as it gets to round 3, we pretty much all know how the story goes by now. Logan starts to gas out, and as the rounds progress, Logan gets more and more tired. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a KSI or you're a Logan Paul fan, you all know if Logan didn't gas out on that first fight, he would have beat KSI easily. Now, I know people are going to try and say that the reason why KSI was getting beat up in the first 2 rounds was because KSI was testing out Logan, seeing how he fights. So if that was true, how come in round 5, Logan comes back and he has some energy, and again, he just beats up KSI. So no matter what, when Logan has energy, he's beating KSI. So let's all just come to terms and admit that Logan lost that fight purely because his stamina wasn't very good. It was nowhere near as good as KSI's. But the question is, why was Logan's stamina so bad? Now, it's not just one simple answer, it's kind of a mixture of multiple. And the first reason is, no matter what Logan says, he was nervous. When he was walking into that ring having thousands of people shouting "F you Logan," his entire reputation depending on whether he wins or loses this fight, he definitely had nervous energy, and of course he had adrenaline. And inevitably, that nervous energy and that adrenaline is going to wear off, and it wore off on round 3. And what the knock-on effect of that was is, yes, Logan looks like he was in shape, however, he was a vegan at the time. And I'm not dissing vegans or anything, because pretty much all of my family is vegan apart from me. However, Logan was vegan for only a couple of months, so he had no idea how his body would react to being vegan. And it turns out it sucked for his energy. It just made him weak. And then to add to that, he also had to cut about 10 pounds to get to the 190 pound mark. So Logan was on a diet, he had no idea how his body would react to it. And then on top of that, he cut weight extremely fast. So just to quickly summarize why Logan gassed out on the first fight, all the people in the audience were against him. Winning this fight was extremely important for him, as he needed to win to restore his reputation. One of the main problems was Logan changed himself physically in a way he's never been before, and the result ends up being a draw, which I kind of agree with. So anyway, let's fast forward to KSI versus Logan 2. Now, we all knew in that year of training, Logan was definitely going to get his conditioning up. And that showed. He lasted the 6 rounds and he didn't seem to fade once. And if the fight went on for longer, he could have easily got on to round 8. And personally, I think it should have been up to round 8 because you kind of need more time to see who's the better boxer. I don't really think 6 rounds is enough, but whatever. The one thing we didn't expect though was for Logan to become such a showman.
I'll answer the Muhammad Ali question.
George Foreman.
If you tell me what 7 times 8 is. You can't do math.
Oh shit, I can't do it, bro. Oh, sorry, man.
It's 56.
Shit. Okay,
You
calm.
fucking dumbass.
Now, like I said on the first fight, Logan was taking it way more seriously than KSI was, so the trash talking from Logan wasn't really there, and KSI just beat him on all of the pre-fight talks. However, Logan just took the second fight as kind of like a joke. You could tell Logan was definitely inspired by Conor McGregor, because all the pre-fight talk and all the press conferences, Logan beat KSI so badly. Logan was just funnier, just way more confident, just jumping around, like acting like he just didn't really care. He was just having a laugh. And that right there just showed the massive difference in attitudes to the first fight and the second fight. Logan wasn't taking the second fight as seriously because, well, at this point, it didn't really matter. He already restored his reputation. He was already banging up amazing views on YouTube. He was pretty much back to where he was before Tokyo. And KSI, however, he was the complete opposite. He was taking it extremely seriously. He was sitting down, and most of all, he was even getting angry at Logan.
7 times 7.
Shut the fuck up.
It's 49.
I don't care, bro.
It's 49.
49.
I'm gonna give you an easy one.
Cool. Okay.
10 times 10.
Cool.
You know that one.
So you could tell straight away that this fight meant more to KSI than it did to Logan, and I think that's mainly because of an ego. But like I said in previous videos, the pre-fight talk, it doesn't mean anything. What really matters is what happens on fight night. If you can't back up what you say in the press conferences and the weigh-ins on the fight night, it doesn't mean anything. So let's actually fast forward to the fight. And more than a year has passed, and I honestly thought that Logan working with Shannon Briggs, he would become a much technical fighter. He would improve on everything that he did wrong on this first fight. And not to mention, because he's much bigger, I thought he'd be a lot stronger. But from what I've seen, there wasn't really much of a change. Well, from either of them, if I'm honest, they were both worse. Seriously, KSI and Logan, their performance was better on the first fight. I don't understand why that is. Maybe it's because of the 10-ounce gloves and the no-head guards that put them off. But I don't know, this fight, it was just not as good as the first one. And not to mention as well, KSI, he was training on and off all year. He was going on tours and he even became really fat. And Logan was supposed to be training all year, so you'd expect Logan to be miles ahead of KSI, but he wasn't. They were both just equally just not good. I don't know. I mean, not to mention as well, the way KSI was swinging, he was swinging wild. And if anybody who knew what they were doing in a boxing ring, JJ would have been dropped within the first round. But Logan didn't really do anything. He pretty much only threw his left hand. And I swear to God, if you go back and watch this fight and you only watch Logan, it seems that all he learnt is how to throw a double jab or a triple jab, or do that thing where you hold up your hands and try and disorientate your opponent. That genuinely seemed like the only change. In the first fight, Logan was slicker, he was throwing combos and all of that. That just wasn't there on the second fight. And again, the question is, why was his performance so bad? Obviously, I'll give it to Logan. His stamina and his conditioning, it was so much better than before. So you got to give him credit for that. However, Logan did say on Impulsive that the reason why he kind of forgot what he was doing is he said when he got punched by them 10-ounce gloves with no headgear, he didn't prepare enough and it just rocked him. He just got disorientated. It genuinely made it difficult for him to think what to do when he was fighting. But I think what the biggest problem for Logan was just his attitude towards the fight. Like, let's be real, Logan didn't care as much as he did on the first fight. Logan had to do this fight because it was on the contract. There had to be a rematch. You all know that Logan had to take the first fight extremely seriously, as it was genuinely one of the only ways he could get the attention away from his Japan incident. And after KSI and Logan's draw, a year pretty much passed until the next fight, and let's be honest, people didn't really care about the Japan thing anymore, and Logan was pretty much back to where he was. So when KSI versus Logan 2 came around, he must have been thinking, alright, let's just do this, but let's have a laugh this time. And you can see the difference. He was having a laugh at the press conferences, having fun, even saying yeet.
I'll use my mic now. Next question.
Yeet. Yeet. Yeet.
Like, you could tell it wasn't as serious as it was the first time coming around. And obviously Logan knew how big the first fight was, so he must have thought, you know what, if I'm entertaining, if people find me funny for once doing all the pre-fight talk and all of that, maybe I'll be able to win respect back to the KSI fans. And obviously that worked. People thought he was funny. And let's be real, no matter what you may think, this loss hasn't affected Logan at all. He's still getting a ridiculous amount of views on his YouTube channel, and I think if anything, people like him more than ever. And not to mention that KSI and all of his fans, they got what they wanted, so they're happy. Just bear in mind, the reason why KSI pretty much won that last fight is because he had a killer instinct and Logan didn't. It's not that complex, that's pretty much the only reason. What we should actually be looking forward to is seeing Jake versus KSI, because Jake has got that killer instinct, and we will see if KSI is really as good as people think he is. So if you want to keep up to date with all the boxing news on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And also, if you thought about the KSI versus Logan Paul fight number 2 any differently, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you have any video suggestions, post them down below. Thanks for watching. Peace!